Hi, this is the lesson of the concept of healing of spaces and what is actually architherapy. So what are the concepts of the healing spaces? So healing spaces in architecture are holistic spaces. They answer to body, mind, spirit, and soul dimension of our existence. The architectural space is a result of an active process that heals human problems through the spatial language. This is how we take architecture and transform it into an active player in therapeutic sessions, in healing people and bringing them to well-being in all their dimensions. Another concept of healing spaces is the multidisciplinary approach. It works with light, with sound, with colors, vibrations, architecture that is kinetic architecture in motion, AI and technology that we introduce in our projects and make our design more integral. We also use the approach of empathy and love, this deep need and intention to help people through architecture and through the language that we are learning. We are basically bringing people to a much stronger sense of well-being. Another concept of healing spaces is that it makes architecture an active partner in healing and therapy process for mental, physical, and spiritual problems. We will see some examples of that, how architecture can become a partner in that process of either psychological, psychiatrical, or spiritual, or mental, emotional therapy. It also creates a new relations with nature, with the surrounding, and the infinite, or our existence. So architecture does not consider just the site as the only element of reference. We are looking in a much broader sense, and we're bringing more relations into architecture. The site has the potential to solve a deep human problem. We are not considering the site only as a real estate problem or solution, how to bring the maximal potential of profit from a site. But we look at the site as a potential to consider and solve human problems. Another thing to consider in architherapy is that we are considering in our design process, in our preliminary and conceptual design process, before anything, we start first with our well-being and inspiration before we go into the functional problems or solutions. So we are shifting and twisting everything and bringing the values of well-being and inspiration first. Also, the size of architecture doesn't matter in architherapy. Each place of each size has the potential of healing. It can be a bus station, it can be a tower or a skyscraper. It doesn't matter how big the project is. In every project, in every design, you have the responsibility to bring these concepts in to heal people and bring them to well-being. Another concept is the energy and intuition comes before logic and rationality in our preliminary design process. It means that before we go into elaborated thinking, we let our inner world, our intuition, the inner voice, the energy that we sense within us when we are connecting to ourselves. This is what comes out first and becomes one of the DNA of our project. So we are forced almost as architects to become more in tune with ourselves and bring more value of who we are and more dimensions of who we are as people. When we consider the scale, architherapy has to go through all the scales of the human space. So from the city size and scale to the smallest room and the corner in each apartment or house. It doesn't matter what are you considering or planning. Architecture therapy goes through all the scales and goes from the urban level to the most intimate architectural space. So we are considering all of the scales and all of the sizes and relationships of architecture in the same way, and we're bringing our concepts and our approach into all of those places. While when we consider the urban scale, we are looking at it through the concept of urban and architectural acupuncture, and we will talk about it later in the coming lessons, and you will understand what that actually means. So what does it mean to be an architherapist? Now that you have come across the first concepts, what does it mean to be such an architect? So as an architherapist, you always see the people's mental, physical, and spiritual dimension and well-being first. You give that the solution before you go into any other solution that you are facing in your architectural work, which is the functional and more rational problems. So first you're considering all the other dimensions that are forgotten in most of our projects, and you bring that to the front of your architectural design and your architectural process. You're also constantly experimenting, searching, looking for different relations and disciplines to come into your architectural field and affect and help people solve certain problems that they're facing. You bring into architecture a new level of being, an active player in changing people's processes and people's state of mind. So you are dealing with almost a new sensitivity within you. You bring out the creativity within you as key factors in your character and in your process. And you are focusing on becoming a stronger and stronger influence of intuition in your design process. You also keep a high optimism as an architherapist because you believe that each human problem has an architectural or a spatial solution that can be part of his or her healing or therapy process. So it is a very optimistic approach that comes with a lot of empathy and love towards people, and you bring that to the front of your architectural design.